Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Data Playbook. It's week 16, and we have our Sunday games to go through after a couple Saturday games and Thursday night. And there's no major updates to the tool, but I do expect to get to more over the next couple weeks. So if you want to see what updates come out, go ahead and give a subscribe so you can follow along. But other than that, let's get into our game data. For our next game, we have Cincinnati going to Miami, where Cincinnati is favored on the money line with a spread of 4.5 and a total line of 48.5. Here's your team averages. And going through the offenses, you have a mixed offense with Cincinnati with a scoring rate of 20, a passing rate of 10, and a rushing rate of 31. And defensively, much worse with an allowed scoring rate of 32, allowed passing rate of 28, and allowed rushing rate of 32. With Miami, it's also pretty bad with a scoring rate of 23, a passing rate of 28, a rushing rate of 14, and defensively a little better with an allowed scoring rate of 16, allowed passing rate of 13, and an allowed rushing rate of 28. For your quarterbacks, you have Joe Burrow and Quinn Evers. Burrow averages 12.8 fantasy points per game, and Quinn's only been in for one game where he got 2.1 fantasy points, and that was not a full complete game, so that would make no sense for the averages here as well. But I will move Joe Burrow's over to averages and look at their turnovers, with Joe Burrow having 4 interceptions this season, but with a shortened schedule with only 5 games, and you have Quinn with no turnovers. Also looking at their share in the rushing game, you have not enough data for either of them, meaning they both get less than 1% of the rushing carries or rushing yards, so it shows that they don't impact the game enough right now to show anything. Looking at your running backs, you have Chase Brown and Devon Achane, with Brown averaging 14.4 fantasy points per game, and Achane averaging 20.8. There are their seasonal averages, and neither of them have actually given up any turnovers this season, so I'll move straight to their charts. So then if you need any of this data, go ahead and give the video a pause. But otherwise, for their share, you have Chase Brown at 69.3% of the rushing carry share and 69.6% of the rushing yard share, with the next largest portion of that going to the backup, Perrine. And then you have Achane at 62.5% of the rushing carry share and 74.4% of the rushing yard share. And the next largest portion of that goes to Jalen Wright and Ollie Gordon, these two combined right here, as the two backup running backs. Moving into your receivers, you have Jamar Chase and Jalen Waddle, with Chase averaging 18.8 fantasy points per game, and Waddle just about 13. Here's their seasonal averages, and Waddle has no turnovers, but Chase has 1 receiving fumble this season. For their share, you have Jamar Chase at 31.6% of the target share, and 34.6% of the receiving yard share, giving him the largest portion by far on the team. And then you have Waddle at 25.5% of the target share, and 32.5% of the receiving yard share, also giving him the largest percentage of anybody else on the team. For your next set of receivers, you have T. Higgins and Malik Washington. Higgins averaging 14.1 fantasy points per game, and Washington at 6.7. Here's your seasonal averages, and the only turnover comes from Washington with 1 rushing fumble this season. For their share, you get Higgins at 16.5% of the target share, and 20.2% of the receiving yard share, and Washington at 16.2% of the target share, and 11% of the receiving yard share. Finally, with your tight ends, you have Mike Gesicki and Darren Waller, with Gesicki averaging 5.4 fantasy points per game, and Waller at 11.5. There are their season averages, and they have no turnovers, so we'll go to their charts, where you have Gesicki at 6.9% of the target share and 6.4% of the receiving yard share, and Waller at 7.4% of the target share and 9.4% of the receiving yard share. So that concludes all your individual data. Just looking at them head to head, it really does seem to favor Cincinnati. Even though they have this pretty bad defense, you do have a pretty bad offense from Miami, especially with a new quarterback in, and we don't know how he'll do too well, so you already have a bad passing rank starting off there. The best thing that Miami has is this rushing rank against the allowed rushing rank of 32 on Cincinnati, so they'll really need to utilize their rushing game, I think, in this game. On the flip side, you do need to get over this allowed scoring rank if you're Cincinnati, but you do have a much better passing rank, which I do think is a little underrated because of the return of Joe Burrow. But otherwise, you still have a decent chance with your rushing game of 31 against an allowed rushing rank of 28 on Miami. So I do think the numbers in the end still favor Cincinnati in this game. So there you are with that data. I hope you found it informational and useful, and if you did, leave a like and subscribe, and leave a comment on what else you'd want to see in the future. But other than that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you for the next game.